I'm motivated by two things. One is just how absolutely amazing the planet actually is. The second issue is that we also are in a time of massive environmental change, and so we can actually learn lessons about what might happen to us by looking into the geologic past. There have been a series of classic studies that have tried to assess what human impacts were like on the marine environment. And one of them investigated, how the major groups of plants and animals had changed over the last 12,000 years or so. And that was done based upon use of mosaics and written records and archaeological data sets and so forth. But it's in the end kind of dissatisfying because those records only give you little snapshots in time, and what we really need would be a continuous sort of record of how environmental change has played out over time. The Empire cruise was designed to give us that quantitative sort of history of the Mediterranean Ocean basin and our impacts on it. We wanted to have direct evidence from the bottom of the ocean about how Eastern Mediterranean people were affected by the environment and also how they in turn changed their own environment. We can do this through extracting sediment cores. Deep sea sediments contain lots of different kinds of fossils, and one of them are fish teeth. We use fish teeth to try to reconstruct how many fish there were in the ocean. We basically drop a big pipe into the bottom of the ocean with a big weight on one end. It drives that pipe firmly into the bottom and extracts a tube of mud. And then we have to take slices out of the core. We stick it in a sieve, we wash all the mud away, and the teeth are left as a residue on the surface of the screen. And then it's sitting with a microscope and sorting through the teeth and counting how many there are, so that gives us the abundance of fish and particular kinds of fish at different points in Earth history. Between 6,000 and 10,000 years ago, there was an unusually productive Mediterranean Ocean. And it turns out that matches the appearance of abundant fish remains and fish hooks and other evidence of like harpoon points in archaeological sites on land, in a series of different caves on different Mediterranean islands. And when that ended, all of that rich abundance that was fed by all of that biological production in the oceans plummeted. And the striking thing is that after this period of time, so after 6,000 years ago, the archaeological record switches to being primarily that of domestic animals and also domestic crops. So I think that's very striking. And it really suggests that people were fishing when fishing was good, and then when that resource disappeared, they switched to domestic livestock and crops. It tells us something about where we come from. And it gives us a sense about the resiliency of human society, how malleable are we and how adaptable are we, for dealing with major environmental change in the past, and of course that are coming up in the future.